Mini Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Shane and I are back for episode 2 of Survivor What If, where in this vast multiverse of infinite possibilities, we will answer the question, we will ponder the question of what if. And this week, for Survivor Australian Outback, the big what if that everybody wonders about is what if Michael Skupin didn't fall in the fire? What would have happened differently?
Yeah, I'm excited for this one because it was such a transformational moment and a big emotional moment, not only for Survivor, but just in general. To see that on television was nuts. But it did have a big impact on the season, I think, and we'll get there because everyone during the season on Kucha kept saying Skupin's the leader and Skupin's doing so well and he's good at physical stuff, he's good at survival, he's good at providing for the tribe. Albeit you could also see that they were annoyed with some of his antics.
Yeah.
But I still think that if he doesn't go out here, he does have a much farther run. I do not see him as the winner, and we'll get there. I think I've heard people in interviews say they think he would have won. I disagree, but let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. So obviously the scenario here is Kucha is at 6. They've just voted out Kimmy. It is likely that Kucha may win the last immunity challenge before the merge because they just run the reward challenge and Ogakor is completely depleted at this point. So the likely scenario here, Kucha wins. They go up 6-4. Probably Jerry, maybe Amber, but probably Jerry goes out here at final 11. And then what happens from here on out with Kucha numbers?
Right. Well, I think also Jerry going out in 11th place changes a lot for the future of Survivor. I mean, I feel like she would still be on All Stars, but there's a lot less of the Colby moments, and her vote out was a big blindside, I believe. And if you don't have that blindside, maybe people in future seasons don't start doing blindsides till later on. So you change that aspect of it. But yeah, I agree. I believe it would be Jerry going out, and then Kucha has 6-4 going in the merge. I think they're going to try to pick off the Ogakors. I'm assuming they're going to go for Colby first, but the tables are turned now, so that first immunity challenge likely goes very different. I don't think Keith wins it. I think I don't see Colby stepping down from that.
No, he threw it in the real timeline. Yeah. He threw it to get Kucha to all vote for him because he didn't have previous votes. So in the scenario, he does not do that. Stays up as long as he can, knowing that he's on the chopping block. So I don't know if he somehow falls off anyway, but I guess maybe we just say Colby does win this. Does Keith or Amber go? I would assume maybe they'd gone for Keith and take Keith out. But
I thought that at first because I'm okay, so Keith was annoying people, but also Keith was the chef. So maybe they wanted to keep that around, and maybe they do go for Amber because she wasn't really doing much, and it's just whatever, at least Keith's the chef for now. I do agree with you, Colby would win, because I think potentially Skupin could win it, but like, does Skupin need to win it? Like, why is he going to stay up there just to prevent Colby from winning when they can still vote out an Ogakor? So it's whatever. So yeah, I would say I think they definitely do not vote Tina, because I could see Tina really getting in, working her social game, especially with Elizabeth and Roger. And potentially even like outlasting some of the Kuchas, I believe. So let's go with, I want to say Amber. I don't know if either Amber or Keith. I'd like to say Amber there, and then maybe the next round, I think they're still going to go for a Kucha. I think Keith won the immunity in the real timeline. I don't know. And Colby was there. So you could say, okay, well, Keith could win it again, or maybe Skupin wins it. But also, you never know. Maybe now with added pressure, Colby does win it. But I would say, let's just go with Keith winning it again. And then in that case, Colby's the first jury member. Then this is where I believe the next one, Keith would go. Because he's annoying people. So now Tina is the last one standing. And I think at this point, they don't vote out Tina. I think I could see them going for Skupin, because he was already like getting on people's nerves and stuff. But Skupin could win some of these immunities. Because this is the point now where Colby wins essentially every challenge moving forward. That's no longer going to happen. Skupin probably wins some. I mean, Nick could win some. Alicia, we can't forget about Alicia.
Alicia was really physically fit too, so I think his later immunities, like they voted her out before she had the opportunity to compete in the more physical immunities. So I definitely think Alicia could win a couple. I think at this point, either because Roger and Elizabeth could have used Skupin, so maybe they use Skupin, maybe they pull in Nick, or maybe they pull in Tina instead of Skupin, who knows? And maybe they also look at Alicia and Varner and are like, we need to split Alicia and Varner up. Maybe Alicia's a bigger physical threat, or maybe Varner's like hard to trust, so they get Varner out of the game. And then, like, I don't know, like, I could definitely see that happening. But in this scenario, I think that at the end of the day, you probably get a Roger and Elizabeth final two, and Roger gives up his game for Elizabeth like he did in the real timeline, because he thinks Elizabeth needs the money more, and they really bonded, so he would let her have it.
Yeah, I can see that. It depends a little bit on the immunities, because I think like at the final 7, they probably go for an immunity threat. So either Alicia or Skupin. Then go for the next one the next time. Then go for Varner. I do think Tina will make it a few rounds more than she should. I could see her forming a really tight trio with Roger and Elizabeth. But she'll get sniped somewhere along the line. So I do think the finale would be Roger and Elizabeth. There's an off chance that an immunity threat could sneak in, like an Alicia, potentially a Skupin, but I don't think so, because I don't think he could go on the run that Colby did and they would snipe him out. Where Alicia could like magically make it through a few rounds and then start winning like 2 in a row or 3 in a row or something and make it through. But yeah, I think Roger and Elizabeth finale, Elizabeth I see winning. It would probably be close-ish. Like it potentially could be a 4-3 or a 5-2, but I don't see a blowout. But the one thing that I do think changes for the better is I think Tina's reputation is even better than her winning. Because a lot of this with like, there's this huge debate that Colby should have won. And from what we saw on television, like Colby was the one that everyone expected to win, and then Tina squeaks it out. I think if Tina goes out like 5th, 4th, whatever she goes out, she's viewed as this massive, like, strategic threat, but also, like, the motherly, kind, social figure, too. That in future seasons, she is viewed with the threat level of, like, a Sesternino or someone that kind of showed this flip-flopping strategy. Because in the real timeline, her, Colby, and Keith did flip-flop a bit, where they tried to take out all the Kuchas, but they got Jerry, they got Amber in the meantime. And I think she could use that skills to really get her in with those Kuchas and cause them to do some flip-flopping. So I think Tina's reputation grows, actually. This whole Colby mania that happened after the show obviously doesn't happen with kids being named after Colby. So yeah, I think Elizabeth wins. And in terms of the future of Survivor, I don't know that much changes because Elizabeth still fits like the Tina archetype in a way where it's a social player that people just like versus like a huge strategic threat. So I think that stays the same. I think All Stars, not too much changes because Elizabeth, if she said no when she didn't win Australia, if she wins Australia, she's obviously saying no.
Yeah.
Tina probably is not the first spoof, but if she does have the reputation that I just alluded to, then she could still be the first spoof. So really not much changes there.
Yeah, I actually am gonna fully agree with you on that. I think I really don't think too much would be different in that scenario. So yeah, I mean, that it's an interesting thing to ponder, and let us know in the comments what you guys think would happen, and we will see.
Well, there is one thing I guess that potentially could change, and maybe not. The argument could be made. I mean, I don't think so because I think we saw signs of Skupin being a little off in the show, but you could argue when he fell in the fire, did that like burn some brain cells or something and cause his like personal decline in life? Maybe if that's the case, it doesn't happen, but I feel like that it still happens.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that with Skupin's personal life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to ponder. So with that, we will see you all next time for the next Survivor What If on the Tribe of Nerds.